Well, something's changed since we did this last because I didn't hear the audio for that animation. So
I'm sure it's fine. Throw caution to the wind.
I throw a lot of things into the wind and it doesn't usually work out. So we'll find out. We'll find out if there's audio for that. I tried to make me bigger, as I told Paul. It doesn't really.
Bite my tongue on that one.
Yeah.
There are pills. So yeah, I don't know. We'll get there eventually. I know, I'm sorry. I feel like there's possibly, I want to figure this stuff out too, because I want to use this software that you're using with the OBS thing for the other podcast or another, my essential, what's it called? My essential spring, eternal spring podcast. But I feel like there might be, if I was going through that, maybe there would be a way I could.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's weird because
you can't
when you put me
zoom out anymore. I mean, this is the max you can zoom.
Yeah, but right there, yeah, I'm zoomed in more when you do that. Like I feel like if I looked the way I looked in the full screen thing, but in the window, that would be fine. Like we would be roughly the same size. I know it's weird. Like but I don't think it's OBS because
no, it might be the way I have it cropped. I mean,
this was an issue before you switched. Like I've always been like bigger on this screen.
Maybe you just have a giant head.
I do have a giant head. This is a problem I share with Alec Baldwin. It's it happens. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. Well, CES is happening,
and by the way, enough with fucking CES. If I see one more story, a smart robot vacuum cleaner, a smart microwave, I saw some. The amount of nonsense that people do to justify their expenses going to like CES is like the stupidest. This is the worst time of year to do what we do. I would have said previously, without thinking about it, you might think holiday season's tough. Everyone's just publishing stories that are basically kickbacks for them to get like, oh, you can save $270 on this Lenovo laptop right now, right? But honestly, January's worse, isn't it? Stupid. There's no filter. Like everything deserves to be discussed somehow. Yeah. Do you know what that's like, Brad? Filter. Have you ever seen No Filter? I don't know. By the way, I shouldn't jump on this too early, but I think I might have solved that pause issue with my computer.
And
I did it. Well, assuming I'm correct, I went into the power management settings and, advanced settings. And then you get to that like old fashioned, control panel-y kind of looking thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm just going to look at it now. Advanced power settings. Yep. And then there's an area called USB settings, and it says USB selective suspend. And it was on and I disabled it. So it can't like select, like the computer or the system was selectively sleeping the USB port, even though I'm using it, is my theory. So,
or something related to it that was causing that little
something. Yep. Something. I mean, maybe it's on like the bus or something, like one of the other ports that was, was on the same bus is not being used. So it's sleeping it and it slept all of them. I don't know, but, anyway, so far it's only been a day, but I did it.
Yeah, no, you would have been kind of.
Yeah, I know. Yesterday and today, I would have. Before the show yesterday, I did that, and I used it most of the day yesterday. This computer, I didn't experience it. Not doing it now. Now that I've said it, I will. But I hope that fixes it because that's not what you want.
No, not really.
I want unfettered access to the power of this computer.
So speaking of CES, there are some notable things that have come out of there, primarily from Intel and AMD. They've both announced new chipsets that have NPUs, which
well, not at CES. I mean, so Intel announced new CPUs or chipsets that do not have NPUs. That's what's interesting. So if you go back to where was I? In early December, I was in New York for an HP event, and that's where I got the HP Spectre I just reviewed, right? And I was talking to a guy from Intel who told me a bunch of stuff, kind of, not off the record, but just, very casually. And one of them was that the Meteor Lake CPUs were about to announce at the time that were in this laptop were one-offs. They were never going to do this again. So normally they do desktop first with each gen in the fall, and then for CES they do the laptop chips, and everyone announces their laptops. And that year they had Meteor Lake they announced it in September, I think, and released it in December, but it's mobile only. So flash forward to, he said there would be no desktop chips of this chipset, but when we go forward to the next fall, 15th gen, they'll realign and go back to the normal schedule. Okay. So they just announced 14th gen desktop chips. It's like, well, what's going on? You just said there were not going to be any desktop chips. There are 14th gen, but these are not Meteor Lake chips. These are a minor upgrade to whatever the Alder Lake or Raptor Lake, whatever the heck the other one was called. So they are 14th gen, as is Meteor Lake, but they're a different like line, like a branch, and they don't have NPUs. So that kind of explains that. Kind of, I don't know. I don't understand why a desktop wouldn't need an NPU, but maybe it's just taking longer to make that hybrid chipset scale, right? To those kind of, whatever those, what are they called? I don't even know the lines. The weird thing is they got rid of, remember I said there used to be, for a long time, we had U-series chips, low end, Ultrabooks, right? Ultra portables. We had H, which was for high performance, and H series, like there was H, K, H something else, I don't know. But, and then they added P in the 12th and 13th gen on mobile. And at the time, I had some speculation about that because those were the new hybrid designs at the time. And I was like, I think they ran into some weird issues where it doesn't perform as well. They had to slot something in, but they got a lot of complaints from customers and from PC makers. So for Meteor Lake, there's only U and H again. But these new 14th gen chips, there's actually P. They actually have a P because they're really just the 13th gen again, like slightly bumped. So we'll see. You could buy a laptop in the coming year that does not have an NPU and is a P series. And
which seems like a bad idea.
I know. That was the thing. I had just reviewed it was a ThinkPad T something, what was it called? ThinkPad, not T. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I just reviewed a ThinkPad. Beautiful laptop, like a classic enduring design, it was wonderful in every way. And then Meteor Lake kind of happens. And, look, there's nothing really there yet for Meteor Lake. I mean, as far as like AI applications you can run locally that make a lot of sense, Windows Studio Effects, whatever, it's not that big a deal. But then I haven't sent it back yet. So I gotta format that thing and send it back to Lenovo, but it's sitting over there on the table. And I looked at it the other day and I thought to myself, this is the end of the line, right? Mm-hmm. This is the last of that kind of old style. We're not going to have these anymore, except this year we kind of are. So I would say one of the key pieces of advice for people this year is, I know you might not think you need it, and honestly, you don't right now, but I wouldn't buy a computer now, like a brand new computer, unless it had some form of NPU. And ideally an NPU GPU tandem, right? Because the AI stuff actually uses both, right? And the GPU has been kind of optimized, I would say, in recent years for these tasks. So,
yeah, I mean, if you're looking at longevity, the unknown is we don't really we think the NPUs are going to be valuable long term. That's kind of the guess. We could be wrong. We could absolutely be wrong. But if it is, and then you buy one today without one, then you're just kind of wasted money, or you get to replace it sooner.
Yeah, I had a hard time finding anything that would use the NPU, even like local LLM type apps, AI Studio and whatnot, or AI, whatever it's called, doesn't matter. They don't hit it. They go off the GPU.
Well, yeah, because nobody's built for it because the population size is so small.
So even if you're into this stuff, like it's kind of hard to find something that will actually use it. Mm-hmm. Windows Studio Effects does use it, but I think to me, Windows Studio Effects is not that impressive. But on the other hand, the point of it is this is like a sustained NPU workload. In other words, you're in a video call, it's going to last 30 minutes or an hour or whatever. And so this thing's churning away and it's hitting the NPU, which is more efficient than hitting the CPU, right? So it's the same. You get that kind of benefit of like the quality is better for sure than going off pure software, I guess. But it also is doing it for like a long period of time. So you're getting the benefits of like the battery life and all that stuff as well. It's not like killing the battery because it's nailing the CPU or whatever.
I mean, it's a good cup of tea if it like pans out that
I know.
Really.
It's not that exciting.
No, that's I don't know. Whenever I upgrade my primary rig upstairs, like that's going to be the baseline. It's like I've got to get something with an NPU, and that would be
Yeah. Right. And when you say your primary rig, it's a desktop or a
yeah,
laptop?
oh yeah, it's a desktop.
Yeah. So you're looking at like next fall at the
Yeah,
earliest.
yeah.
I don't think, well, technically, I guess PC makers could ship NPUs as an add-on. That's a thing. I mean, you
Yep.
don't really see it. The one big example is not a desktop, oddly. It's that Surface Studio Laptop 2
Mm-hmm.
is a laptop chip, but it has an add-on NPU. Like that is what do you call it? An Intel kind of architectural possibility. Like they offer that.
Yeah. Like on a PCI Express slot or something, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. It's something. Yeah, it's either a dedicated slot specifically for that thing, or
Mm-hmm.
maybe a PCI Express, whatever it is. I don't know, to be honest. I've never seen one. I've never heard of a PC doing it, but I know it's a thing.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what kind of thing works out. I'm actually kind of wondering if this podcast is going to record any of your audio. I see it coming in, and I see it should be recording.
We could do a little less of my voice. It's fine.
I don't know. It's if I hit the outro here and we don't hear the audio, that's what makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah, no audio